tonight's main event, the Hemp Shack National Series, brought to you by the OBRL Racing League here at the beautiful Talladega Raceway. First time calling this race with these drivers, guaranteed to be a good time. It's going to be a shootout in the utmost degree here at the Super Speedway. Trying to get these cars ready for for the actual race. Qualifying has wrapped up for the night, and we're going to send them out to the grid. Guaranteed to be a good time, as always, for the OBRL guys. Let's take it to tonight's grid for the main event. Up front, you've got Brian Glass, Dave Wood, Al Turner in the third spot, Mr. Hoskins in the fourth spot, number 66 machine, Lee Wardsdale starting fifth, Jonathan Green starting sixth, Ed Post starting seventh. You've got Tony Jennings starting eighth, Brian McRubbin in ninth, Dave Nestor 10th, Todd Bosworth will be starting 11th tonight, Greg McDaniel starting 12th. You've got Ralph Vore starting 13th, Eric Essery starting 14th, Bruce Pearson starting 15th, Ray Smith starting 16th, Dwayne MacArthur, the fast Canadian, is starting 17th tonight, Jess Vaught starting 18th, Travis Rogers starting 19th, Clay Walker starting 20th, Eddie Jones starting 21st, Kelly Cool starting 22nd, John Hastings 23rd, Michael Titanium Everhart starting 24th, Henry Besaw starting 25th, Wayne Hufford will be starting 26th on the grid, Mark Schrader 27th, Gary Kipper starting 28th, Pete Coco Puff starting 29th, Jimmy Dean will be starting 30th, Steve the Mule Thompson starting 31st, you've got Eric Whiting starting 32nd here tonight, Robert Crisco starting 33rd, John Fick starting 34th, Dave Mayberry starting 35th, Lewis Albee starting 36th. And we're going to cycle it back once more. You've got Frederick Hofstetter starting 37th. He's a rookie out there in the triple-digit machine. Victor Menard starting 38th. And then Lee Applebaum starting 39th. Three rookies making it out onto the race course tonight. A rookie can be signified by the three-digit number on their racetrack. So you've got Ralph Forrest out there in the 113. Jess Vaught in the 118, Kelly Cool in the 117, Wayne Hufford in the 102, and Mike Schrader in the 115. The rookies keep coming. Dave Mayberry, the 119, John Fix, another rookie, Frederick Hofstetter, a final rookie. So a lot of newer racers out here at the OBRL crew, out here having a great time. What it means to be a rookie here at OBRL, you have to come out and do a minimum amount of races before getting awarded your two-digit number. But man, look at the massive field. 37 drivers starting tonight. One of the biggest grids we've had the pleasure of broadcasting. And it's guaranteed to be a barb runner. These ARCA Menards cars not very happy about bump drafting. You have to be very, very careful when you get up on the tail end of your competitor. You cannot push like you can in the Gander Mountain trucks or in the NASCAR Cup cars. The front bumpers of these machines tend to slide underneath the back of your competitor's rear bumper. And if you push too hard, you can find yourself lifting the back end of your competitor and sending them rapidly around. But it'll be 63 laps here at the Hemp Shack National Series at Talladega. First time having the pleasure of calling one of these races, so looking forward to seeing what's going to happen with these very fast race cars under wide open conditions. This is one of the cleanest leagues we have the pleasure of broadcasting. Hoping to see all these guys keep it relatively clean out there today. Because as we've all seen at Talladega, the big one can come, and it can come fast. But keep an eye on Brian Glass, number 87 machine. He's your starter in the Kodak-sponsored race machine on the inside line. Dave Wood will be in the number 5 machine. He's on the high side. But, man, so many talented drivers out here. Really every race we call for the OBRL crew. If you want to get on the action, if you meet the minimum requirements of over 35 years of age and you're a safe driver, check them out, obrl.racing. You can get on one of the mini series they have here. Pace car will be in. First start is on the green flag. Let's see who's going to get the best start here. Is it going to be the Kodak machine of Brian Glass, or will it be the Kellogg-sponsored number 5 machine of Dave Wood? Waiting for that green flag to come out. And away they go. Brian Glass gets a great launch, number 87 machine. Dave Wood's going to lag just slightly behind, but here comes Hoskins in the number 66, always running his trademark green and yellow paint scheme in every series he runs here. Let's see who's going to get the lines formed up the fastest. Right now, Brian Glass kind of by himself on that inside line, as Dave Wood has Hoskins on his back bumper trying to get that outside line working early on. And we may see some good old-fashioned pack racing here today, as Wood does have a bit of a speed run on that outside line, but the inside line still forming up, getting more and more drivers with some momentum. Lee Applebaum does make it out on track in the 101 machine, a late starter to tonight's race. Dave Wood's going to try and drop low with Hoskins in tow. They're going to get in front of Brian Glass's number 87 machine, but here comes Jonathan Green, one of the relatively new racers here at OBRL, just received his pro number, I believe, last week. Always a pleasure seeing so many different drivers run the different series here offered at OBRL. They've got the Arca Menards cars, they've got Gander Mountain trucks, the Xfinity cars, and as well as the Sunday Cup Series, which is always covered live by Team Goon Squad, bringing the action 1080p, 60 frames a second, as these guys always put on a fantastic show for everyone. You've got about 13 drivers still in the lead pack. Then you're going to cycle it back. You've got Jess Vaught. He's leading the second charge, one of the rookies in the 118 machine. He's got another rookie, Kelly Cool, right behind him in the 117. This is your battle for 13th on screen. Behind Jesse Vaught and Kelly Cool, you've got John Hastings, Henry Besaw, Eddie Jones all running this pack here. Then another short break. You cycle back to Dwayne MacArthur, the fast Canadian, the number 97. He's running 19th on track right now. Kind of all by his lonesome. He's got a big pack behind him, with Steve Thompson leading that charge. Thompson currently running 20th place as he leads two lines of cars around the track, and a lot of fast names we normally see up front, but right now it's one of the faster, newer guys, Jonathan Green, and the number 37 Oakley sponsored machine. He's out front leading his outside line, but here comes Dave Wood back on the inside, accompanied by Hoskins. Not sure what the fast line is going to be here. The inside line seems to be some of the easiest to hold and still hit your corner marks. You can look at your peripherals and see where the corner dips in. A lot of great pack racing here. It's about 13 drivers still in this lead pack before you go back to Jesse Vaught in the 118 machine running 14th. So 13 drivers all running nose to tail, two rows wide and about 6 rows deep, as they're going to quickly approach lap traffic that is out there by their lonesome. Unable to pick up the draft. The draft is so critical here at Talladega. You can make or break a race very quickly. If you fall outside that lead pack, you've got almost no chance of catching them if you find yourself solo on the raceway. As Dave Wood will lead us across the line for the start of lap 4. But Jonathan Green still trying to get that outside line working. Let's see what he has going into turn 1. Can he carry a little bit more momentum than Wood and maybe use that side draft and make his way around? All these drivers leaving themselves plenty of room here at Talladega. At OBRL, you have a minimum incident point per lap that you must maintain. If you are unable to maintain that, you can find yourself getting EOLs or even parked for races. So it helps to kind of improve the racecraft of all these guys, encourage everyone to run clean, and that's usually what we see is good, clean, green flag runs here at every OBRL Racing League event that we cover. Dave Wood and Mr. Hoskins, the number 66 machine, holding on to that inside line, doing a fantastic job so far. You're on board with Hoskins right now. He's trying to push Dave Wood up to the front. Wood running that Kellogg-sponsored machine. They are driving the wheels off that. The inside line, definitely the dominant line there. Not quite sure what happened to Brian Glass, number 87 machine, as well as Dave Wood in the number 5. But that's going to allow Green in the number 37 Oakley-backed sponsorship get back out there, lead some laps. And we're going to keep chugging along in this race. We may see some green flag runs here. As always, great clean racing here at the OBRL Series. These ARCA cars, a lot of fun to drive. Their last time by, hitting trap speeds close to 200 miles an hour. We saw a few guys hitting at that 198 mile per hour mark. Most competitors that were working together in the draft and not having to lift, hitting at speeds of excess of 195 miles an hour. So everyone out there on the same machines, fixed setups. So the only deciding factor is the loose nut behind the wheel. Which driver can wheel and deal and play the draft lottery just right? I don't think you're going to see many early passes early on into race tonight. Everyone's going to kind of play it safe and click off some laps, maybe try and get closer to a fuel run, as we're starting to see more and more drivers be happy sitting in that single file line. Right now you've got Brian Glass. He's leading the outside line, still trying to hold on to it. But Jonathan Green, the number 37 machine, will get another lap led at Talladega. We're going to cycle back to that second pack. It's kind of hard to pack at this point. That's going to be Jesse Vaught, Kelly Cool. Still running behind the race leaders. Seems like they're able to catch up just a little bit, get to that inside pack, and maybe start making some momentum. Then you go further back, you've got Dwayne MacArthur, the number 97. He's followed by Steve the Mule Thompson, Pete Kopko, Coco Puffs, Jimmy Dean, Mark Schrader, Lewis Albee, all in this pack here. As it appears to me like guys maybe getting a little bit more used to how they're running and possibly picking up some draft partners as well. So that's Dwayne MacArthur with Last Ditch Racing. He's the number 97 machine. Our current fastest, I take it back. Al Turner, our current fastest Canadian on track. Turner's running the number 76 machine, finds himself in 6th place. And they're still trying to make something happen up front. Still side by side. I'm not sure if we're going to see much more momentum come out of this lead pack, that outside line. They've got about 5 cars running the outside line compared to about 12 or 13 on the inside line. And it's about a second and a half spread between first place Jonathan Green, back there to Kelly Cool, John Hastings, Henry Besaw, Eddie Jones, all the top 18 of the drivers tonight, all running together. As we see a couple guys wiggling around up there, trying to play it safe. Nobody wanted to risk it too much. It's not worth diving into the line, trying to get that preferred line. Just stay out, click off some laps, and burn some fuel. Brian Glass, number 87 machine, he will get just ahead of Jonathan Green every now and then at the end of those straightaway runs, but as Green ducks back down the inside, going through all 4 corners of the raceway, able to make that racetrack just a little bit smaller and keep up a little bit more speed. So Glass, number 87 machine, is not able to get around, even though he does have some pretty big runs. See the number 5, David Wood, taking a peek to the outside of Green, trying to get some fresh air on the front of that Cornflakes machine. These cars with fixed setups, you don't have to worry about overheating too much unless you're aggressively running nose to tail the entire time. But a few of these drivers will hop out of line just for a second, at least get half the car out of line and just take a mental break right there. What we've always learned in racing school is you have about $1 worth of focus to spend per lap. So generally in the straightaways, if you have a chance to breathe, you want to take your hands off the wheel just a little bit, stretch your fingers before you use all that balance of focus going into the corners here, especially when you're too wide. If you have one little lapse of judgment, you can find yourself rapidly ending your race. No fast repairs here for the OBRL guys. So once you have a wrecked race car, you have to come in and fix it the old-fashioned way or park it for the night. But so far we've made it 12 laps around the super speedway, running side by side the entire time. Everyone keeping it very, very clean and doing a great job out there today. Always a lot of great racers. Not sure we're going to see lap traffic come into play here, as the leaders have not gained a whole lot of time on their competitors. So everybody doing a very good job keeping it clean, still side by side all the way around the racetrack. It's still going to be Jonathan Green, the number 37 machine out front. Dave Wood, number 5, is going to stay tucked in behind him on the inside line, but always keep an eye out for Brian Glass running the high line, as well as the 36, Dave Nestor. Brian Glass, the number 87 machine, doing a great job staying out there, running very, very hard tonight. Now, one of the few, I guess, rare things about calling a series we don't normally broadcast is we never know who's going to be the fast cars out there and who may be kind of new to the series. We're used to calling these guys in the Metro Ford Cup Series. Brian Glass leading that outside line, doing a fantastic job. Glass has 8 starts so far this season, 1 pole. And the win still evading Brian Glass in the number 87 machine. Now Jonathan Green, your race leader, this will be his 4th start for the Hemp Shack National Series. He is also chasing his first win. He did have a little bit of bad luck last week at Rockingham. He started 14th and unfortunately had a DNF with a recorded 24th place finish. So let's see if Green can improve at all tonight and try and get a first top 5 so far for his season. But man, what a lot of great clean racing from these guys. They're still going 2 wide. They've been at it for about 14 laps now, and no sign of slowing down. All these guys jockeying back and forth on live timing and scoring as the outside line and inside line kind of go back and forth against each other. That's a good look at your overall. 35 drivers still on the lead lap. An absolutely massive field out here tonight, but these guys put on a clinic of what it takes to run fast in green all the way around to Super Speedway. Hoskins, the number 66 machine, doing a great job out there tonight. Hoskins is up 1 spot from where he started in the number 66. Currently running 4th on track, but glued to the back bumper of Dave Wood in the number 5 machine. Staying in a good place. I think he's going to be happy here, just trying to finish out his fuel run. And I'm very impressed that these guys have not caught lap traffic 16 laps in. You see a pack just in front of them. I believe that's going to be Pearson, Fix, Hofstetter, and Applebaum out running there together. So that pack running single file, pushing a little bit less air than our leaders are. So currently running 2 wide and still about 7 rows deep. Let's check on the pack of newer guys right here. So it's going to be Robert Crisco leading. This is your 30th position in back. Robert Crisco in the number 28 machine. He's leading the 119 of Mayberry, as well as Bruce Pearson, the number 22, and John Fix in the 103 machine. So a few 3-digit numbers out there running very strong and keeping it clean. Just clicking off laps, see if they can catch back up under possibly a caution, if not their first fuel stop of the night. Al Turner, our current fastest Canadian on the track right now. The number 76 machine is down 4 spots, still currently running 7, so within that top 10. So he's got to be happy here, just clicking off some laps, trying to stay in the top 10 as they cycle through and get ready for a pit stop. All these guys running very clean all the way around. Now Turner, he's got 7 starts so far this season, and he is also chasing his first win. So Turner, he has 3 top 5s this season, 5 top 10s. Last week at Rockingham, he was on the podium with a second place after starting 11th. He made it through that entire race with 0 incidents, so well done. Good to see him back out front, running very consistent here in these ARCA cars. As always, a major shout out to the HempShack.net guys sponsoring this national series in these ARCA cars. They've got 11 incredible hemp-derived CBD products in the HempWorks brand. They've got tinctures, topicals, pet products, you name it, they can help you out. A 60-day money-back guarantee, so check them out, HempShack.net, bringing you tonight's action. Couldn't do it without those guys, and it's always a great time having them on board. Allowing these guys to come out here every Monday night, have a whole lot of fun together. And that's what it's all about here at the OBRL Racing League. All these guys are friends on and off the track. They race 4 different times a week, 5 times. They've got ARCA, Trucks, Xfinity, and the Cup Series. So 4 nights a week of racing, or 3 nights and 1 morning, as the Cup Series does run on Sunday mornings. But even when these guys aren't out there racing 4 nights a week, they're having a bunch of fun on their practice nights, helping to lift newer drivers up, and generally everybody working together to try and improve their racecraft. So a very cool and unique community here at OBRL.Racing. And some very, very clean race cars out there today. We've already clicked off 20 laps, and we have not seen a caution, so I think for super speedway racing, that's pretty darn good. But if and when will the big one strike here at Talladega? We've seen it time and time again. Everyone's on equal equipment. As the laps start to click off, we're going to see drivers getting a little bit less patient. But right now it's the Jonathan Green show in the number 37, still out there chasing his first win. Always a pleasure seeing the number 37 Oakley machine running out front. We've called him in other races. He's always a very clean racer. Really, it's a pleasure to see all these drivers. I have the distinct privilege after broadcast. I hop down on the hauler channels, hang out with the racers. They tell me what they're feeling, how it went, and even before the races, we get a little bit of tidbits from guys on what fuel windows are going to be, how the track's feeling, how the car's feeling, who to keep an eye on, and who is the odds-on favorite to win it. So always a great time hanging out with all of these online competitors. Always put on a fantastic shows. We've already gone 20 laps green. That is almost unheard of from any other ARCA race. Man, great pack racing from all of these guys. Jonathan Green still out front. Dave Woods shows in second. Brian Glass, he's number 87 machine, leading that outside line. He's got Dave Nestor as well in the 36 machine. Hoskins in the mix. Turner out there. McRubbin in the 09 machine. He's in 6th. Ralph Vandervorst, he's in 8th. Lee Warsdahl, 9th. And then you've got Todd Bosworth bringing up your top 10. A few new names. I have not had the pleasure of calling their events yet. Great to see all these guys. An absolute pleasure meeting them. And, man, they're putting on a show today as we get closer and closer to that halfway mark. Not quite sure what the fuel window is going to be here tonight and how long these guys are going to be able to stretch it in these ARCA cars as we start lap 23. So we're about a little over a third of the way through tonight's main event. As we've seen that other pack just stay in front of these lead drivers for about the last 10-15 laps. They haven't slowed off their pace a whole lot. The lead pack is about 7/10 off of their best times of the session. So even though this is one of those tracks where tire wear is not a major factor, it is still slowing them down just ever so slightly. But one thing's for certain, if you see him come in for a full fuel stop, you can expect all these guys to take 4 fresh tires to get back out there. And it looks to me like that outside line, led by Brian Glass, number 87 machine, starting to lose a little bit of momentum. And what could very well be happening, you may see some drivers purposely slowing down, giving up some track position if they feel like their pit window is coming up. I'm not sure we're going to see drivers dive into pit lane, but when we do, it is going to be exciting because there's still about 20 cars in this lead pack, all running very, very close. You have to go all the way back to Dwayne MacArthur in the number 97 machine running 19th. He's kind of in the back 3/4 of this pack. And then you have to go all the way back to 26 as it's Michael Titanium Everhart in the number 17 machine. He's followed by Gary Kipper, Travis Rogers, and Eric Whiting. Everhart is down 2 spots from where he started. Kipper is up 1. Rogers, currently in 28th, is down 9 spots, so not having the race he really hoped for tonight. But all these guys are just staying out there, burning off some laps. They may be hoping for a caution later on, but right now they're going to sit out where they're at. You know, just put down some good, clean runs, and then maybe try and link up with the leaders when we begin in those pit cycles. But it's still Jonathan Green out front. Dave Wood comfortably in second. Hoskins currently shows his 4th, but he's on that inside line, so he should be able to secure 3rd here when we begin our pit cycle. And then Brian Glass, number 87 machine, still running that high line, still staying out there and having a great time. We see a little bit of a blink from Al Turner, the number 76 machine, our current fastest Canadian on track. Lee Warsdale, number 99. He's our 2nd fastest Canadian on track. Warsdale in the number 99, currently running 7th place. As we see a little bit of shimmying from our drivers out there, but no harm, no foul. Both lines giving themselves plenty of room. Not a whole lot of side draft action going on early on in tonight's race. Everybody just trying to play it safe and keep their cool. Now we're on lap 26. We don't know how long these drivers can go on their current fuel allotment. If they have the fuel, you can expect them to pit maybe around that lap 32 mark to give themselves enough fuel to make it to the end, or possibly later if they're expecting the chance of green-white checker conditions, as all of these guys are pushing hard and playing it safe. And again, you see drivers kind of dipping out of line there, maybe getting some nose on the air of their race cars, cooling them back down. And the biggest thing is probably a mental breather for these drivers. After so many laps, driver wear really becomes a play. It is exhausting going too wide for 27 laps in a row because they know just, one little moment, maybe swing up the racetrack, maybe hit the inside apron too hard. You can find yourself getting catapulted to that outside line, and if there's cars in the way, it's going to spell trouble at Talladega. But all these HempShack.net drivers doing a great job so far, and some extremely clean race cars out on track tonight. Grab you a nice wide-angle shot, lets you show just how bunched up the front of the field is here. That is first all the way back to 25th place, still on your screen. From Brian Glass all the way back to Victor Menard, currently running 25th, is a 3.45 second gap. All these guys able to keep the draft of their competitor and stay with the pack. But let's see what happens on pit cycles when things are going to get a little bit more exciting for these guys. Especially you come into pit lane with about 30 drivers, things can get very, very exciting very, very quick. We've seen crashes on pit road before. Not super often here for the OBRL racing crew. If anything, we see more speeding penalties, and even those are extremely rare. So not many pit incidents to report as Brian Glass, number 87 machine, that Kodak-backed race car, he's going to drop to the inside line in front of Al Turner's number 76 machine. So that may be an indicator drivers are starting to think about their pit stop. As it's still going to be Dave Nestor, he's running the high line. You've got Brian McRubbin, the 09 machine, he's on the high line, as well as Todd Bosworth in the number 42 machine. You're on board right now with race leader Dave Nestor, the number 36 machine. He's trying to get that high line working to his inside line. There's still Jonathan Green in the number 37. As look at this, here comes some pit cycles. Jonathan Green coming in, Brian Glass, Todd Bosworth, Lee Wardsdale, Ed Post, all dive into pit lane. Mark Schrader, he's going to come in. So those guys coming in on lap 30 for tonight's race. Now let's see when our current race leader, Dave Nestor, the number 36 machine, when he may want to come in. Jesse Vaught also getting up there in the number 118. You've got two rookies out front right now. You've got Jess Vaught in the number 118 and Kelly Cool both out there running up front and strong. So great to see the new guys coming out there, putting on a show. Jesse Vaught in the 118, he's currently first. Kelly Cool currently second. They're going to stay out as long as they can. And I've got to wonder, are those guys teammates? Because they're both running skull paint schemes on their ARCA cars. They've got to be. So the leaders came in on lap 30. And then the two newcomers, the 118 of Jesse Vaught and the 117 of Kelly Cool, going to stay out, stretched out in that window just a little bit. But, oh, this is about to be exciting. You've got a lot of cars exiting pit row. Does not appear we saw any speeding penalties on pit lane. Eric Essery, he was in for a long time for a minute. Wayne Hufford was in for a minute 30. And then Greg McDaniel, number 30, he was in pits for 5 minutes. So not sure if some of those drivers had problems. As Jess Vaught, Brian, no, McRubin does come in. Kelly Cool still staying out. So the rookies still staying out. Great job in their matching paint schemes. You've got the green of Jess Vaught, the blue of Kelly Cool. And man, that's a whole lot of drivers getting around right now. So let's see, when are we going to see Vaught and Cool make their way into pit lane? They're doing a good job out front right now, wrestling with the big dogs here at the OBRL Hemp Shack National Series. And we are at the halfway marker just ever so slightly. So I'm interested to see if Vaught and Cool run it all the way dry. That'll let us know how long they can go on fuel, as they almost have a moment. They're going to go 3 wide into pit lane. Hold on to it, boys. Well, that almost got very, very dicey very, very quickly. So I believe Eddie Jones coming out of pit lane is our new race leader. So Vaught and Cool came in on lap 32, while most of the field came in on lap 30 and 31. So I'm not sure how that's going to affect the long run here. Maybe the guys are trying to just get some fresher tires underneath them. But once you get in that draft, tires don't matter a whole lot. That's Eddie Jones comfortably riding around by himself in the number 14 machine. Behind him, Dwayne MacArthur in the number 97 is going to be charging back up front. Look at MacArthur on the inside line. Going to be absolutely moving in that number 97. He's got a train of fast guys behind him. Behind MacArthur, you've got Steve the Mule Thompson running the number 67 machine. You've got Brian Glass. We saw him run that high line by his lonesome for a majority of the first part of the race. He's up there now. And these guys should be taking over the race lead, as I believe Vander Vorst is the current race leader, just coming out of pit lane. The rookies, Vaught and Vaught, number 118 and the 117. It looks like they're going to get past here, swallowed up by that lead pack that's drafting very, very tight and close together. As MacArthur and the number 97, now he's the fastest Canadian on track. We've been waiting all night to say that for our friend Dwayne MacArthur. He's out front. Steve the Mule Thompson up into second. MacArthur is up 16 spots from where he started. Thompson is up 29 positions. So out of a massive field, Thompson's been making the right moves to get in and out. All of these guys took 4 fresh tires and a full tank of gas. And man, are they pushing here tonight. You've got Dwayne MacArthur, Steve Thompson run that inside line. But then you've got Dave Wood in the number 5 machine trying to get that high line working. He's accompanied by Eddie Jones and the number 14. And they're going to swallow up Hoskins here. Hoskins going to go a lap down. Now, we talked about rookies. I believe Kelly Cool in the 117 did get a speeding violation on pit lane in their box for 1 minute and 12 seconds. That sure signifies like they came in way too hot and they got held in their box by the hempshack.net officials. So a rough night for one of the rookies in the triple-digit number. But we've all been there before. So Hoskins actually not a lap down. He is still in the mix here, currently in 7th place. As they're going to go side by side up front as we get ready to start lap 36 of tonight's feature event. Man, what racing. I've got to say, I say it every week, green flag pit stops are some of my favorite things in racing. You get to see drivers work on their strategy both on the track and off the track as far as fuel runs go, working with teammates as you see MacArthur and Steve Thompson doing here tonight. And we're going to grab a close-up here of Steve Thompson. You're going to watch just how hard he's pushing his teammate MacArthur through these straightaways. You can't get away with much, if at all, bump drafting in these ARCA cars, but there's a very fine line and a whole lot of trust as they're going to go 3 wide into turn 3. This has the potential for disaster if these drivers are unable to hold it together. Coming out of turn 4, I believe. Yep, coming out of turn 4. Through the tri-oval, still 3 wide. You've got Dave Wood, number 5 machine. He's kind of stuck by himself there. He gets around to Eddie Jones. Not sure if we're going to see him drift high or if they're going to stay 3 wide. And they are. So these drivers are waiting until late in the race to maybe run a little bit riskier. We've seen them comfortably running 2 lines all night long. But these drivers saying, you know what? We've got less than 30 laps remaining. If we're going to make some moves, now's probably a good time to do it. As you see a little bit of blocking going on as well. Dave Wood loses the support from behind him. And look at that. Here comes Eddie Jones, the number 14 machine with a great run. He's going to get a lap lead here at Talladega. Man, what a great showing from all of these guys. Fantastic racing from all of our competitors. So Eddie Jones, the number 14 machine, going to get a lap lead here once more. Everybody doing a fantastic job keeping it clean so far. It's going to be 20 laps to go. I'm still not sure what's going to happen as we got a lot of fast guys up here. Everyone trying to make something happen. No, Jones is about 28th in points. He's got 7 starts so far this season, 2 DNFs. And he's got 1 win last week at Rockingham, able to bring it home in the number 1 spot. The week prior, Pocono had a very rough week, finishing 25th with the DNF. So out of 7 starts, Jones has 2 DNFs. He has a very, very clean incident per race, averages less than 0.5 incidents per race, but when he's out there and has a rough night, it is a very rough night. Actually, I take that back. Leading up tonight, he's had 0 incidents all season long. So keep an eye on Eddie Jones. He's been very fast and very clean all season. 7 starts, 4 top 5s. One of the consistent front runners here for the Hemp Shack National Series. But always keep an eye on Dwayne MacArthur and Steve Thompson. They are grizzled veterans here for OBRL. Some of the guys that help make things happen behind the scenes. So if there's anybody you can expect to make some late race charges, it'll be those 2 guys. MacArthur currently in 2nd in the number 97 machine. Steve Thompson, he's 3rd in line on that inside line. Currently showing a 4th in scoring as Dave Wood, the number 5 machine, trying to make that high line work and maybe get around these drivers. It's 24 laps to go. We're fairly confident that all these drivers will be able to make it till the end under fuel. Some guys just staying a little bit out later. We saw some guys stay out till lap 32. a 64-lap race. That means they should be able to make it to the very end unless we get into green-white checker conditions, because then it can get very, very exciting very quickly, as you may see some drivers decide to stay out and some drivers come in and gambling on fresh tires and fuel. If that happens, if the majority of the field eventually comes in and leaves their friends out there, the drivers that opt to stay out can find themselves kind of at a disadvantage late in a run. But not sure if we're going to have any cautions now, as everyone's running very, very clean. 23 laps to go. And, man, still driving very, very well out here today. You've got 12 drivers in the lead pack. Then you have to cycle back 9 seconds to find the second pack. That's led by John Hastings, the number 32 machine. You've got Jonathan Green, Travis Rogers, Ray Smith, Tony Jennings, Mark Schrader, and Henry Beesall running in this pack from 13th to 19th. One of the best parts about racing with the OBRL crew is, besides just the clean racing, is all the green flag runs as well. Another benefit, but you always have some talented drivers to race. It's very rare we have such a skill difference among competitors where you find yourself out in no man's land. You can generally find somebody to race hard with all the way around, and that's the thing. When you find yourself in a field of almost 40 drivers, everyone's extremely talented. So even a mid-pack finish for some of these drivers is truly an accomplishment, as you're driving with some of the best and cleanest racers on the iRacing service. 22 laps to go here at Talladega. Everyone doing a fantastic job. Very, very impressed with the caliber of driving we're seeing here today. They're still running 2 lines up front. We saw a couple hints at 3 wide before everyone got settled in. We're going to pull up the NASCAR tower for you here. Lets you see what the runner is, so that way if you got your favorite racer out on track, you can get a full view of everyone who's out there racing. Still 29 drivers on the lead lap out of 39 drivers that started the race here tonight. And that inside line's just been so dominant here tonight. It doesn't seem like the outside line. Now, part of it is they're not aggressively side drafting, which means they're going to try and get to the outside of their friends running the inside line. So in the case of Dave Wood and the number 5 machine, if he was truly trying to draft very, very hard, you'd see that number 5 Kellogg's get much closer to Dwayne MacArthur and A.D. Jones, trying to hug his left side door against their right. But since this is a series that prides themselves on clean racing, it's 20 laps to go, so nobody's trying to be too risky this early on in a race, relatively early on. Now, as we get closer to 10 laps to go, you are going to see some fireworks, because that's when these guys are going to really light it up, try and get up there to the front, and put themselves in the best position for a finish. And so if we have gone green most of the night, we are about 44 laps into this main event. And these guys always putting on a fantastic show. Clean drivers, clean race cars all the way around. You're not going to find it anywhere else but the HempShack.net National Series. More side-by-side action and keeping it very clean. It's still Eddie Jones out front. Dave Wood, number 5 machine, starting to get a little bit of a run. I'm not sure if he's going to get clear of the number 14 here. As Dave Wood doing everything in his power to make that outside line work. He's accompanied by one of the rookies, Jess Vaught, the 118 machine, that skull-painted race car. He's also got the 113 of Ralph Vander Voort. So always a great job seeing the rookies out here running clean. And with the big dogs, they've got a lot of talent around these triple-digit drivers. I mean, you've got Dave Wood, Eddie Jones, Dwayne MacArthur, Steve Thompson, Brian Glass, Pete Kopko, a.k.a. Cocoa Puffs, He's up there in the mix, number 3 machine. Let's take an eye on what Kopko is doing. Kopko, one of the most lovable drivers on and off the track, a huge NASCAR fan for decades at this point. Now, that's what we need to do one day. We need to get together and figure out what is the average experience of these sim racers. I'm willing to bet over a century between a lot of the drivers combined. Some of these guys have been racing since the NASCAR Papyrus days in the mid-90s when you had to host your own server on good old-fashioned dial-up. To the young folks listening along at home tonight, don't worry about it. Your parents will explain it. But they've got tons and tons of experience between all of these guys. So that's what we're pointing out here. To be a triple-digit number, running clean with the big dogs is a very strong accomplishment in an early career here at OBRL. And all these experienced guys willing to take the time to help coach new guys. We've broadcasted some of the races where some of the racers did not have a great night. They felt they were very, very far off the pace, and it just wasn't coming to them. And they reached out. And they're saying, hey, guys, I need a little bit of help. Can anybody mind coaching me? Immediately, you get 4 or 5 guys hopping into that same channel going, hey, show up next practice. Remind me. Let's work together and improve our racecraft. So all these guys, prescribing to the analogy, a rising tide lifts all boats. And that's what really makes it a special event here. All of these guys, very top tier on and off the track. Again, you've got 20 cars running still in the lead pack, 16 laps to go, and it's been very, very clean. At what point are we going to see the hammer drop from some of these guys and start seeing those a little bit more aggressive side drafts? We've already said it a million times. You cannot effectively bump draft in these ARCA cars. Now, side drafting, a whole different story. If you can glue your door to their door, you can use that draft to take the air off your competitor. Once you get to that rear quarter panel of a race car, it takes the air off and kind of pulls you up to them, slows them down, speeds you up. But these guys have been very safe. You've seen everybody getting plenty of room through all the corners of the racetrack. Because you get just a little bit of wiggle out of one car, and all the cars behind you in line will do the same thing. And here we go. We see a little bit of 3-wide action. I believe that's Jess Vaught in the 118 trying to get the high line working. Vaught, he's followed by Vaught is followed by the 113, another newcomer, Vandervorst, trying to make that high line work. I'm not sure if they're going to be able to do it. They do not have a whole lot of support from other drivers. As the rest of the field hugging that inside line, coming out of turn 4 through the cross finish line. It's still Eddie Jones out front. Dwayne MacArthur second. Jess Vaught briefly shows in third, tries to drop low, but no room to go as Dave Wood still holding on that inside line, or that middle line, I should say. Steve Thompson, he's running third right now, following his teammate Dwayne MacArthur. To give you an idea of how hard these guys are charging, your current race leader, Eddie Jones, is up 20 spots. Dwayne MacArthur is up 15 spots in second. Jess Vaught in third, he's up 14 spots. Steve the Mule Thompson, he's up 28 spots. So the triple-digit guys doing their best to get that outside line working. I'm not sure if they're going to have the momentum with only 2 cars. It's 14 laps to go at Talladega. Anything can happen. It's been very clean and green so far. But I don't think you're going to see if Dave Wood yield that middle line anytime soon. He's worked hard to keep that line working. He's not about to get passed on the outside line. You've also got the 87, Brian Glass in the mix, currently showing 8th, but there's so many drivers all around here. Brian Glass, he goes to the high line behind the triple-digit numbers. And just like that, you see Jess Vaught, he's going to drop in front of Dave Wood's number 5 machine. It's 13 laps to go at Talladega. Still a lot of racing left here today. This is round 8. Next week we go to the chase start at Bristol Motor Speedway, where it'll be the top 12 drivers enter the playoffs. So everybody out here now trying to score some last-minute points before the playoffs get things fired up. But Eddie Jones searching for another great performance today. He's accompanied by Dwayne MacArthur and Steve Thompson on that inside line. That outside line still not quite forming up like it wants to. Jess Vaught trying to lead the charge. He's on the middle line right now. He just edges out Eddie Jones down the back stretch, but Eddie has that inside line and a whole lot of support from fast drivers behind him. It's 12 laps to go at Talladega. I think now drivers are going to start making something happen if they have the opportunity. We've seen Jess Vaught get a couple of good runs and drop down in front of other lines to get a little bit better track position here at the end. Eddie Jones, the number 14 machine, he's on the inside line. Jess Vaught in the middle line. Then you've got the number 87, Brian Glass, all by himself, running that third lane on the high side, looking for an opening to try and get in. He's going to dive in behind the number 5 of Dave Wood to make it 2 rows once more. That second row, that outside line, still kind of hesitant on if they're going to drop in line here or maybe make it 3 wide once more. I think we are. As Brian Glass still trying to get that high line working, using the side draft of everybody in front of him. But this is where things can get very, very risky very, very quickly. It's 11 laps to go. It'll be 10 laps to go at the line. Eddie Jones has a fairly comfortable lead, but we've seen Jess Vaught get some pretty massive runs in that number 118 machine, accompanied by the 113 of Ralph Vandervorst. Here we go, 10 laps to go. We're starting to see some 3 wide action. And we're starting to see more people commit to that outside line. Oh, this is about to get very, very exciting. That's the number 5, Dave Wood in the Kellogg's machine, trying to make something happen. He's accompanied by Brian Glass and the number 87. You've got Jesse Vaught in the middle line and Eddie Jones still charging out front on the inside line. Nine laps to go. We see a little bit of cars snaking around. If they get unsettled and the car behind them does not lift, it'll spell tragedy. And if you take the letters and rearrange them for tragedy, you get the big one at Talladega. It's a fun fact for you race fans at home. The big one, if you're a new NASCAR fan, that means one singular incident that takes out a lot of clean drivers. We've avoided it so far. It's 9 laps to go. We may be able to go green all the way around, which would be absolutely spectacular from these guys. But 9 laps to go, you're going to start seeing drivers get a little bit less patient and a little bit more aggressive. It's going to be 8 to go as they cross the line. It's still Eddie Jones out front. Jess Vaught running the high line, the middle line, I should say. That middle line's really got some momentum, but not quite enough to get the drop in on the inside line and take that track position and slow down the run. And oh boy, look at the lap traffic ahead of them. Lap traffic's 3 wide ahead of them. What's going to happen here as they dive into turn 3? There is not enough racetrack for all these fast cars. The lead pack's 3 wide. The lap traffic's 3 wide here at Talladega. You're going to see cars trying to get out of the way, get off the race line. Oh boy, this is about to get ugly. That is the number 42 machine who's, oh, hold on to it, boys. Don't go 4 wide yet. That's the number 42, Todd Bosworth, trying to get safely out of the way as he sees a hornet's nest of drivers behind him. The lead pack quickly drops back into 2 wide formation. Ahead of them, they've got lap traffic that is now 2 wide, which is a little bit better than 3 wide. 7 laps to go. What's going to happen here? The lead pack going 3, 4 wide down the backstretch in front of them. Lap traffic doing the same. Oh no, what's going to happen here? Eddie Wood still out front. Dwayne MacArthur in the mix. Jess Vaught, he's still there. Steve Mule-Thompson, Ralph Vandersvorst, Pete Kopko. A lot of fast names here at Talladega. 6 to go as they cross the line. And they have officially joined lap traffic. This is where the party is about to happen. You've got about 10 drivers going extremely quickly and about 8 drivers in front of them not going quite as quickly, but everybody out here racing for position as lap traffic goes 3 wide. Oh no, the big one! The big one at Oh no, Talladega, there's a lot of drivers involved with that one. Lee Applebaum involved. Oh, the calamity. There is cars everywhere. Lee Applebaum, John Fix, Dave Wood, Brian Glass, Dave Nestor, Dave Mayberry, Lewis Albee, all involved in a hard incident. That will bring out our first caution with 6 laps to go. Oh, what a crash. Oh. That is the big one. That is what we were talking about. It was never going to work. Lap traffic going 3 wide. Look at that terrible, terrible crash. As they are still crashing. So after that big, big crash, we're going to re-rack them here for our first caution of the night, making it so many laps in and just now having a little bit of problems. So many ARCA cars involved with that one, but it's going to be Eddie Jones still out front. Got through it clean. Dwayne MacArthur, Steve Thompson, Pete Kopko, Coco Puffs, and Al Turner will be our top 5 as we get ready to send him back out. A lot of drivers involved with that one. Ralph Vandervoort still in pit lane. Jess Vaught in pit lane. John Fix still in pit lane, and there's going to be 24 drivers and maybe a few less still out there for our initial shootout for the Hemp Shack National Series. And man, when they finally had a crash, they saved up a whole lot of laps. They made it about 57 laps clean before we saw carnage. Eddie Jones, he's going to bring in the pit lane. Dwayne MacArthur, Steve Thompson, Kopko, Hoskins opting to stay out in the number 66 machine. Not sure if we're going to see him come in around the next time by or what he may have going on. So about 5 drivers playing it safe, coming in for 4 fresh tires, maybe splashing off fuel in case we go into green-white checker conditions. But it should be about 3 laps to go. Once they come around, they'll follow the iRacing pace car for one more time by. Right now they're in single file. They'll go into double file the next time by. So it's going to be Warsdale, the number 99. He'll be up there with Hoskins. Not sure if fuel is going to be a concern for these drivers at all, if they're willing to hang it out just a little bit. We're going to bring them around one more time under single file conditions before we re-rack them double file for a heck of a finish we're going to see here at Talladega. These drivers put on a fantastic show, and when the cautions came out, they came out in force as the lead pack you saw on your screen just catch those drivers in front of them. Lap traffic that were all battling for condition. Everyone trying to get out of the way and scout at the last moment. Just a recipe for disaster. So it'll be Hoskins up front, Lee Warsdale also starting in the second place spot, John Hastings in third, Jonathan Green will be starting fourth. I'm not sure what we're going to see here for a final shootout and restart. As man, oh man, what a wreck. 22 drivers still on the lead lap out of 38 that have taken to the field. We had 1 DNS, Clay Walker in the number 25 machine. And we're going to form them up double file here and get this party started once more, as the Hemp Shack National Series does not ever lack excitement out on the raceway. We're going to form them up, send them out once more for possibly the final shootout here at the HempShack.net National Series. All these drivers have put on a fantastic show for us. It's going to be Hoskins out front, Hastings second. As we're still trying to get them gridded up, I thought we were going to see the green flag drop here, as it looks like everybody's trying to get in double file formation. But may have been extended yellow. We still saw race cars trying to make their pit lane. Some guys having to use to pit lane. Some drivers having to use that tow option on iRacing to get a drag back to pit lane. But I believe we're about to fire this party up. It's 23 drivers still on the lead lap. This could get very, very exciting, as cautions always breed cautions. We're going to see that iRacing pace car drop down into pit lane and then send these competitors off. It's Hoskins, number 66, and the bright green and yellow race car. Lee Warsdale, the fastest Canadian on track, and the number 99 machine will be starting at the high line. Here we go for the final shootout at Talladega. We've seen the big one, but there's still plenty of cars out on the lead lap to possibly cause another one. They're going to wait for the green flag to drop. And away goes Hoskins in the number 66. He's got Lee Warsdale on the outside line, number 99 machine. You've also got John Hastings, number 32, trying to get out front. Hastings currently up 21 spots so far tonight. Let's see, we've seen that inside line be pretty dominant. We've seen the outside runs from the throughout the race. Everybody running that middle line, but doesn't seem like they had the draft to really fully get their way around. As it's still going to be Hoskins out front, Warsdale second, Hastings green, Ray Smith our top five. And oh boy, they are bumper to bumper. That never ends well in these ARCA cars. It just takes a little bit much, and you can find yourself with carnage as Warsdale drops down to the inside line in front of Hoskins. 2 laps to go. Can they make it clean? It's Warsdale out front, up 4 spots from where he started. Hoskins in second. John Hastings third, but here comes Jonathan Green, number 37 machine, trying to get that high side working. He's going to get bumped out of the way, and oh, what's about to happen here? Here we go again. It's a final lap. The white flag is out. I don't know if we're going to see a caution here, as there's some spectacular crashing going on behind. Steve Thompson involved, Victor Menard, Tony Jennings, all at hard hits. Wayne Hufford is out. Frederick Hofstetter gets punted into pit lane. It's white flag conditions. They're going to run it out to the line here at Talladega. Who's it going to be? Warsdale has the inside line. Here comes John Hastings as well, and number 32 machine. I don't think Hastings is going to have the drive to get down to the bottom line. Hoskins still holding on nice and tight behind Warsdale's number 99 machine, driving that inside line. And what's it going to be here? Whoa, this is going to be close. Everyone's scattering. Checker flag's going to come out. Warsdale gets shunted out of the way. John Hastings appears he's going to get the win, followed by Hoskins and Eric Whiting. What a spectacular race from all of our drivers. And what a fantastic race here tonight that unfortunately just ended up in heartbreak for several drivers, as the second big one came out as the leaders crossed the white flag. The caution did not come out in time to force a final restart. So that is how the results are going to stand. ARCA brakes in full effect. Drivers charging through knowing, hey, we got to go. There's no caution here. We got to keep pushing. As, man, once again, a parking lot at Talladega. A fantastic race for the first time in the booth with the HempShack.net National Series. And man, what a night it was. John Hastings out front, Hoskins getting a second, Eric Whiting third, a great performance, and we didn't see many cautions, but when we did, they were absolutely spectacular. Looking forward to calling the next race. On behalf of OldBastardsRacing.com, HempShack.net, and Team Goon Squad Broadcasting, I'm James East. We'll see you in the booth same time, next place. Thank you all for tuning in tonight.